2020 saw countless headlines surrounding the presidential and local elections, and when you factor in a pandemic, all eyes were on these races. But before we even get into our election coverage, we have to go back to February, where President Donald Trump faced removal from office. However, the Senate would acquit President Trump on 2 articles of impeachment, rejecting the House's charges for abuse of power and obstructing the congressional investigation. That would segue into an election season we will never forget. We begin in April, where voters in the Cooley region lined up or stayed at home to cast their ballots in the presidential primary. Wisconsin, one of the few states in the nation to host in-person voting despite the pandemic. To July and September, campaigns were off and running.
Jobs, 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 right here in Wisconsin and all across America.
Vice President Mike Pence making stops at a dairy farm in Bryce Prairie.
We leveled the playing field for American dairy.
And Dairyland Power on Labor Day. While Republicans opted for in-person events, Democrats stuck to more virtual gatherings. And speaking of virtual, a new format for local debates. News 19 reporters and anchors serving as panelists as they question local candidates about their plans for office.
I think that these debates do offer us some important lessons for the future about how to deliver debates that offer a real sense of civility and respect, yet also do highlight those differences between the candidates, which help voters ultimately make an informed decision.
Up next, a presidential visit 1 week before the election.
They're coming for your guns, they're coming for your jobs, and they're coming for your freedom.
President Trump hosting a rally at the La Crosse Speedway despite numerous pleas from state and local health officials not to come. Trump made his first visit since 2016 when he was running for the party's nomination. Biden and Trump would make their final plea to voters despite millions already with their mind made up and ballot casted absentee. We eventually arrived at Election Day. Joe Biden won Wisconsin by just over 20,000 votes. President Trump requested a recount in only Milwaukee and Dane counties. The recount affirmed Biden's victory in the state. And that's when we started to see lawsuits in state and federal court, including one brought by La Crosse County GOP Chair Bill Feehan. This lawsuit looked to have Governor Evers decertify the election results for Joe Biden and certify them for President Donald Trump. The suit claimed that the machines used in the election inflated the numbers for Biden. That suit, along with all other lawsuits, was thrown out.
If there was fraud, if there was wrongdoing, if there was mistaken interpretations of the election laws, the courts have had many, many chances to right those wrongs. And what we've seen is a consistent outcome, and that outcome has been that, Wisconsin got it right.
Wisconsin and Minnesota electors casted their ballots for Joe Biden on December 14th, confirming him as the 46th president of the United States. One of the biggest issues in this election was misinformation over election fraud and misconduct. Chergosky told me he thinks this will continue to be an issue since people can tailor-make their information to their choosing on the internet and social media. This ultimately allows them to essentially create their own reality. In the studio, Mike Biermeister, News 19.